I drink my son's load for breakfast every day. I'm a divorced mother, living with my 18-year-old son. I've been very corny after my divorce, and I frequently use toys inside my room, and I knew my son could hear me. It all started a few months ago when I went to clean his room. I noticed one of my panties was under his desk, and it was covered in dried load. The smell was intoxicating to me. I didn't say anything to him about my discovery, and let him have the freedom to continue. Sometimes I intentionally wore the panties with my son's fresh load on them. It turned me on like crazy. Because of my free reign on my son's behavior, he has seemingly become emboldened. He not only releases his huge loads on my panties, but also on my bras and my skirts, as always. I pretended not to notice and simply wore whatever piece of clothing that had his dried load on them and washed it off later. It seriously turned me on knowing that I've been wearing clothing with my son's load on them. One morning, my son told me he made me coffee and carried a cup to me directly. It was unusual for him to make coffee, and as I drank it, he stared at me with the most strange excitement. I stared back at him cluelessly, and when I tasted a trace of his load in my coffee, everything was clear to me. But once again, I pretended not to know what he was doing. Later that evening, he carried a cup of milk to my room and said, "It's good to have a cup of milk before sleep." I could see his wild excitement as I drank his milk. He asked me, "How does his milk taste?" and still acting like I was completely oblivious. I told him that his milk tasted very sweet, and Mommy loved it. I could see that burning love in his eyes. Now he makes his special coffee every day, and I enjoy it. Yesterday, I even tasted glazed donuts made by him. I couldn't stop licking the glaze. He kept watching me as I tasted his donuts. It brought him so much joy that he went to the toilet for a moment. At that point, I asked myself, when will he finally dare to suggest me a bit more? Follow for more!
How is my sister 4 months older than me? Oh, no!
I had to do some math for a second. It's like,
oh, no!
This has got to be a really young person. That's really sad.
Okay, so both my sister and I are 16 years old, and she is 4 months older than me, and only today did I realize that you can't get pregnant while you're already pregnant, only in rare cases. Our mother must have been 5 months into her pregnancy while I was conceived. Is this a case of, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, superfetation, not trying to debate anyone, just want to understand? Okay. Wow.
Okay.
So this 16-year-old did the math, and they were like, this is not adding
Took
up.
until they were 16.
Oh, man, I feel so bad for...
I feel bad for laughing.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like clear that there's something going on behind the scenes that for whatever reason, the parental figures involved have decided not to disclose yet. Like something... Maybe it's like an adoption scenario, and it's just like not a conversation they want to have yet, or like something like that.
I'm not a parent, but I'm related to people who are parents, and I've heard from them about like their thoughts on parenting, and I've read some things. But I think my take on just humans, kind of, and then kids, is that I think people can handle and probably should have the hard conversations earlier in life.
Surely by 16.
Surely by 16. Yes, by 16. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel that about like whatever the situation is. It's just like, hey man, you owe them respect even when they're 5 or 6. Like you're I don't know, by being like, they can't handle it. We'll save it till later. And then they kept saying, save it till later. Now, I don't know what happened here.
Is it possible? Is it possible?
I guess it's... But you would think, if that happened...
You would know.
They would be talking about that all the time.
They would be in the Guinness Book of World Records, surely.
Have you ever got caught sneaking out in the middle of the night? This happened a few years ago, and my wife still brings it up anytime I even look at a beer. I had a guy's night planned and told her I'd be home by midnight. I promise, I said, which in hindsight is basically a curse. 1 drink turned into 2, 2 turned into shots, and suddenly it's 3 a.m., and I'm sitting in the back of a cab, laughing at absolutely nothing, and trying to remember if doors open inward or outward. I finally get home, ease the door open, and of course, the cuckoo clock goes off. Cuckoo! 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 3 times! Instant panic. If she hears that, she's going to know I just rolled in at 3 a.m. But drunk me was a problem-solving genius. I stand there, think for a second, then quietly cuckoo the clock myself 9 more times, because obviously 3 cuckoos plus 9 cuckoos equals 12 cuckoos. Midnight. Math. I go to bed feeling smug, like genuinely impressed with myself. The next morning, we're having coffee. She casually asks what time I got home. I don't hesitate. Midnight, like I said, she doesn't react, just sips her coffee, flips a page of the paper. Then, without even looking at me, she says, we might need a new cuckoo clock. I ask why. She says, because last night it cuckooed 3 times, then said, oh crap, cuckooed 4 more times, cleared its throat, cuckooed another 3 times, giggled, cuckooed twice more, then walked into the coffee table and farted.
Get ready with me while I tell you the story of how my ex of 7 years cheated on me. I have a lot of new faces on here, so I thought I would share this story with you guys. Now I can sit here and laugh about it, and my life has completely changed ever since. I have officially made it to 3 years single. Let's talk about how I got here. For some context, I was in a relationship with my high school sweetheart. We started dating when we were sophomores in high school. We were very much babies and we were kids at the end of the day. No relationship is perfect. Ours definitely wasn't all rainbows and sunshines. We had many moments where I think both of us should have stepped away, but it is so much easier said than done. Where do we even begin? I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was the week before Valentine's Day. We were sitting in my room, this very room right here, watching the new season of You. Out of nowhere, I get an Instagram message from an old friend of mine. She DMs me and just asks me, hey, are you and, we'll call him Alex, are you and Alex still together? Question mark. And I think as a woman, you just know, like, you know when it's like the hey girl text. And literally, I remember the feeling. I felt like my stomach literally fell to my ass, and I just knew. I knew that what she was about to tell me was not about to be good. And I answered and I said, yeah, why? What's up? She's like, I'm so sorry, but I found your boyfriend on Hinge. Remember, I was so confused because I had no business being on a dating app, so I didn't know anything about dating apps. And she had told me the name of the dating app, but that's how oblivious I was. I was like, what is that? So then she proceeds to tell me it's like a dating app that is like Instagram. So she's talking about Hinge. She sends me his profile, and yeah, nonetheless, it's fucking him. It's him. Everything is up to date. What he was doing at the time as his work, whatever, like the bio, it was all up to date. So that's how I knew, which doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't matter if it was then, if it was 2 months ago, if it was 2 years ago, like either way, you got caught up, honey. I'm just in disbelief. And I remember I took a second to just really process everything. And then he noticed that something was wrong with me. I remember I was just so mad. Like, I wasn't even like sad. I was just infuriated. He brings up Valentine's Day and he's like, I'm so excited for Valentine's Day next week. I told him, I don't know about Valentine's Day next week. He then said, what? Like, why? I then respond by saying, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I said because I was pissed. I said, why is some bitch telling me that you are on dating apps? I was pissed. No offense to the girl. She's not a bitch at all. Shout out my girl. If you know, girl. So I said that and he right away denies it. He's like, no, like, I've never been on dating apps. I don't know what you're talking about. This, and that. I then look at him and I tell him, you know what, Alex, it's over. We're done. It's time. Like, the least that you can do right now is just tell me the truth. Just tell me the truth. Like I said, in that moment when I finally broke up with him, I just felt like there had been so many other things that had happened leading up to this point, and I was mentally checked out. So I was ready. Once I found that out, I was like, okay, like, there's no more chances to be given. This is it. Then it tells me that he has been on one dating app and that it was a long time ago. When I brought up the dating app to him, I did not tell him what the dating app was called because we as women are just so fucking smart. Let me just tell you that. I just wanted to see if he would tell me the dating app that the girl sent me. Remember, the dating app was Hinge. I then asked him, okay, what dating app was it? 9 times out of 10, if a girl is asking you a question, she already knows the fucking answer, so just tell the truth. He then answers and he says, Tinder. He got caught up. Multiple dating apps. He was on multiple dating apps at this point. So then I'm even more fucking pissed. I tell him, what the fuck? I show him the picture of the dating app that the girl sent me, and I said, I was talking about Hinge. And then I told him, I was like, so you were on multiple dating apps. And in that conversation, he just swore up and down that nothing ever came from it. And like I said earlier, I was so done at this point. He had done multiple things in the past to ruin trust, and I had given him chance after chance after chance. And so for me, like, it wasn't even the act of him physically being with another person, which to this day I don't know, but it was just the fact that he betrayed me like that. He betrayed my trust. He made me look dumb. Like, I had a friend asking me if I was still together with this guy. Like, that's so embarrassing, and he's over here on dating apps. So it didn't matter to me when he was using the dating app, if he met anybody on a dating app. It didn't matter. It was just the fact that he cheated, you know? And after that, I respectfully told him that I never wanted to see him again and that I never wanted to speak to him again. And I have gone complete no contact from that man who was in my life for 7 years. I chose to go no contact with this person because I knew that with the history that we had, if I spoke to him ever after that point, that it would just be so much harder for me to completely detach myself. This was somebody I grew up with. This was somebody who I was a child with, then grew into an adult with. And it was something so difficult to walk away from, but yet so powerful. As a woman, I think sometimes we feel like we have to stay and we have no choice but to just work things out. And everybody's situation is completely different. In that moment, I knew that it was time for me to walk away, and that if I didn't walk away, that my life was just gonna not turn out the way that I wanted it to turn out. So I chose to walk away. And I have not been happier since. If you want to hear a little bit more about what life has been like since, then go to part 2.
I really love taking baths, but strangely, ever since I was a child, every time I went to the bathroom, my mother would knock on the door and remind me of something. As I grew older, I became more and more annoyed by this behavior. I just thought she was making a big deal out of nothing. That day, I deliberately put on earphones and turned the volume up all the way, intentionally blocking out any sound from outside. As expected, my mother came to knock. With the earphones on, I was completely unaware. The knocking outside grew louder and louder. I vaguely sensed the commotion outside, but out of spite, I pretended not to hear it and ignored her. When I finished bathing and came out of the bathroom, my mother was nowhere to be seen. I only saw the letters WXRQZ written on the wall. I thought for a moment and instantly broke down. I crouched on the ground and sobbed uncontrollably. Clever you. Do you know the truth?
After my sister lost her sight, her sense of smell became extremely sharp. She could detect the scent coming from every person. One day, while my sister was walking around the neighborhood, she suddenly caught a special fragrance. This scent fascinated her deeply. My sister followed her for a long time. From then on, she often sat downstairs hoping to meet her again. I advised her to give up on this idea, but strangely, my sister said she was already with the owner of that fragrance, and that person stayed with her every day. She could smell her scent in the neighborhood fruit shop and even in the nearby supermarket. She even showed me a photo she had taken. I was wondering how, in places full of strong smells, my sister could still precisely pick out one person's fragrance. Suddenly, I seemed to realize something, and I instantly broke down. Clever you. Do you know the truth?
My ex-husband sent me a list of things he had to give up in order to be in a relationship with me during our divorce. And I would like to read them to you today with my current husband listening, because he has not seen this list. Okay, I've given up that, number 1. Every woman that I could have slept with since you and I got together. Number 2, I gave up my free time during the week to work a 9 to 5 so we could get ahead financially, aka getting a job. I gave up staying out as late as I wanted several times because you wanted to get home. We would be out until like midnight, and I was pregnant and I wanted to go home. I gave up regular conversations with many women just so that you could have the certainty that I wasn't going to even get close to cheating on you. It wasn't just regular conversations, it was conversations about sleeping with them. I gave up watching whatever I wanted many times to watch what you wanted to watch. Not true. He made us watch Civil War documentaries almost every night. I've given up a lot of my time driving back and forth to see you throughout our entire relationship. Entire relationship is a stretch because, we lived together while we were married. But while we were dating, we did live an hour apart. Sacrificed miles on my car. That's what driving is. Actually had a car crap out on me while driving back from your place. That was about maybe a month or two in. He had a really old car and it just gave up on him. But that was my fault. Number 9. Money I could have spent on myself. Love I could have let myself for others. Let's read that again. Love I could have let myself for others. Or others. I don't know what that means.
What?
11. Time doing whatever I wanted just to be with you. Given up secrecy and told you everything. That's actually not true. You didn't tell me a lot of stuff until after I got pregnant and I found out that you should be in prison. Number 13. Given up my pride to be honest and open with you. Typical man not wanting to open up about how he's feeling. Number 14. Gave up acting like a jerk to be humble and studious to your family rather than prideful. 15. I've given my whole life to you on our wedding day. Given up feeling good about myself and my life just because you said I wasn't doing good enough. I asked him to stop watching porn and flirting with other women and doing so, I made him give up his life. Number 17. I could go on all day, but you get the point. That was number 17, is he could go on all day, but I get the point. So, let me know if you guys think I'm in the wrong.
What's the kinkiest thing you've ever done out of pure horn? Enos? I went down on my younger cousin during quarantine. I don't regret it. I live alone, so I got quite lonely several weeks into quarantine, which worked out perfectly because my younger cousin Liz, who was a freshman in college, needed a spot to stay due to school canceling from the virus. I had an empty room left when my ex-wife moved out and got divorced with me. The last time I saw Liz was about 8 years ago when she was 11. She's 19 now. I remembered her as lanky and awkward. She was like a small girl growing into a spider's body, all limbs. I thought it would be awkward before she showed up, but it turns out we share a lot of common interests, so we got along easily. Movies became a nightly tradition pretty quickly. Around 6, we would each pick a movie we thought the other person might like, watch one, make dinner, and watch the other. Honestly, my favorite part of Liz being there was the help in the kitchen. It felt like I had a mini Gordon Ramsay in my house. The food was so good. I had my fair share of junk food and pre-made pizza making because my ex-wife grew up eating cereal, junk food, and frozen dinner. Dinner with Liz each night was the beginning of the end for me. I would constantly catch myself reaching out to touch her lower back like I had with the few times I did with my wife, or just staring at the back of her neck, her hair tied up while she focused on some mundane task like chopping up an onion and resisting the urge to gently kiss her on the shoulder. Last Monday was the first time I caught an idea that she might be interested in me. After the first movie of the night, Liz left to take a shower to wash off after a run she had taken earlier that day, while I threw together a pizza. Right after her shower she surprised me by walking into the living room with just her towel on and asked me how the pizza was turning out. I'd like to lie to you and say that I kept my surprise hidden and acted as if there wasn't a mostly naked 19-year-old suddenly standing in front of me, but after looking her up and down, my eyes lingering on her bare shoulders, then on her small breasts framed by the towel, the hem of the arguably too short for her height towel that ended just below her hips and all the long, sculpted legs that followed, each location for a few moments too long I tripped over my eloquent reply of, good. Like a professional middle schooler. Liz just smirked, gave me a crooked smile, and walked back to the bathroom saying, well, it smells really good. It took me a while to regather myself after seeing so much skin, but I was able to rebuild my composure and push thoughts of certain barely covered areas into a small but sturdy cage and adjust my pants. As I was pulling the pizza out, Liz walked back into the living room, thankfully wearing more clothes, an old baggy hoodie that was one of her favorites and some dark black running shorts. She sat down on the couch and buried her nose in her phone while I finished up in the kitchen. Thankfully, it seemed, she was not too concerned with my lingering eyes and I tried to forget the recent image of so much perfect skin. I cut us a few slices of still hot pizza, brought them out, and started up the movie thinking it was an odd prank she was pulling or just a joke to throw me off while a small, but loud part of my mind hoped it wasn't a joke at all. Partway through the movie I noticed Liz was back on her phone off and on. At some point she stretched out on the couch, head on one arm rest and legs bent, and her feet pressed up against my leg. She kept shifting her legs trying to get comfortable until I asked, want to stretch them out? And patted the tops of my legs. She just smiled at me and stretched them out, letting her feet rest on my lap. I instinctively shifted my hands out from under my blanket and started massaging her cold feet before I realized what I was doing and froze. I slowly looked over and saw her staring at me, a questioning, but not uncomfortable look on her face. I used to massage Nicole's ex-wife feet all the time like this, just instinct, sorry. And I started to desperately search for a new place for my hands. Liz spoke up for the first time since the movie started, laughing a little as she spoke. I don't mind at all. It actually feels really nice. I went on a long run while you were at work, so you won't hear any complaints from me. And so, I kept massaging her feet, listening to her breathing, and paying almost no attention to the movie. Eventually, her feet were as warm as my hands and I started moving down her lower legs, giving her calves some attention. This elicited a light moan from Liz, and she said, "Why would Nicole leave this?" I'm sure it was louder than she expected because I saw her head shoot up and look at me to see if I reacted. I just glanced over and gave her a weak smile but didn't comment. I could feel her tense under my touch though. She felt bad for saying it. I turned the movie down a little and said without looking over, she and I just wanted different things. I don't mean to overshare, but we both wanted kids and it turns out that I can't. We talked about adoption but after a while I could tell she wanted her own kids. I felt like it was a sign that we should adopt and she very much didn't. We found out about a year ago and that was kind of the beginning of the end. It was pretty quiet for a while as we both just quietly watched the rest of the movie and I continued rubbing her feet and legs. The movie ended and credits were scrolling when Liz pulled her feet off my lap and sat up, stretching long arms arching above her tiled back head. Her neck incredibly exposed and amazingly bare in the low light of the mostly dark living room with her hair in her braid behind her head. She stood up, shuffled over closer to me, and sat down, our legs touching through the blanket I still had over my leg. Without looking over to me, just looking forward she said, "I'm really glad you're letting me stay with you. It's nice being in a peaceful place for once. And I'm sorry I made you think about Nicole, I really didn't mean to." I brushed it off and told her to not worry about it. We sat in relative silence as the credits scrolled, just the music behind the credits filled the void, but it was strangely peaceful. We didn't need to fill the silence and it was really nice just sitting with someone who clearly cared. Eventually Liz broke the silence, shifting in her seat and turning to face me directly. "Thanks for the massage." I started to turn to face her and make some lame comment but she reached across my chest with one arm, behind my neck with the other, pulled my head gently sideways, and kissed me on the cheek. It felt really nice. Her breath on my neck as she moved closer to me, the surprise contact of just a simple touch across my chest, and her warm lips pressed against my cheek sent a cool fire running down my legs and I could feel myself reacting. Thank God for blankets and semi-constrictive jeans. She lingered for a few moments and I could tell she was staring at me, searching for a reaction. I knew I couldn't stay there for long and make a good decision so I gently took and moved her hands off my neck, stood up, and said, "I still need shower, mind putting the pizza away?" Liz gave me a sad smile in the low light of the living room and nodded. I very pointedly did not run to the bathroom, turned the shower on cold, and stripped out of my clothes. My quite average PP had relaxed a little bit from Liz's kiss, but was still resting at about half-mast, hoping for release. I jumped into the shower and turned my chest into the cold water to hopefully knock some sense into my foggy head. Despite the cold shower, thoughts of Liz kept me up for at least an hour, but I was able to get to sleep eventually. The following morning I got called into work. They needed extra help getting stuff done after some workers were off due to getting sick from COVID. I told Liz I'd be home kind of late and to not wait for me for dinner. Well, the mess up at work was worse than I expected, and I ended up getting home right after 9 p.m. stressed and ready for a shower. One quick, hot shower later I walked into the living room to find a cup of hot tea and a plate of warm pizza sitting on the floor in front of the couch with Liz sitting on the couch behind. I thought to myself she is such wifey material but had to remind myself this is my cousin. She pointed at the ground in front of her and said, "It's payback time." She made a massaging motion with her hands. She has some freakishly strong hands, so when she started working my shoulders and neck I couldn't think of anything except the exact moment we were in. Liz found the perfect place between pleasure and pain and there were moments where I was about to wince away from the pressure to let her know that it was a bit too much but she seemed to know, backing off just enough to ride that line. I thought that what felt like hours-long massage was over but she tilted my head back onto her knees and started massaging my forehead gently, moving down to my temples and running her fingers through my beard. Guys, it was heaven on earth. My eyes were closed so I didn't see her kiss until she pressed her lips against my forehead and lingered for just a few moments. She leaned down close to my ear and whispered, "Now I think you owe me, right?" I tilted my head to the side and kissed the inside of her hand. "Yeah, I guess I do." I watched her ass bounce just a bit in her running shorts as she walked down the hall towards her bedroom. I thought about Liz in a new light. I knew she was into me and started to play tricks on the dicks as they call it.
I busted a fat load in my sister. This all started when she got stuck in the washing machine so like any normal 10-year-old would, I gave her some dummy back shots. For some background, me and my stepsister and I have always had a friendly relationship. She's a few years older than me, and I can't deny that she's pretty attractive. She's got this long, wavy hair that frames her face perfectly, but most importantly she got some humongous mommy milkers. Holy moly, I could waterboat them for hours, but anyways, I've never thought of her in that way of course, but a few days ago, I was home alone just chilling on the couch when I heard some noise coming from the laundry room. I went to investigate and found my stepsister stuck in the washing machine. Her body was fully wedged in there. She must have been trying to reach something that had fallen behind the machine. Her behind was sticking out, facing me. I rushed towards her,
panicking that she could be hurt. I grabbed her waist and started pulling, trying to get her unstuck. I honestly think she got stuck due to her mommy milkers being so huge. As I felt her soft skin and the curve of her body beneath my hands, I started to lose control, so I told her that I'd seen this before in a movie, and the only way to get her unstuck was by the power of back shots. Surprisingly, she agreed, and I started taking her to Pound Town. Holy guacamole, did she have a gorilla grip. I almost passed out. Sadly, this didn't work, so like any 10-year-old I turned on the washing machine and went back to watching TV.
I told my son I was attracted to him, however he ended up plowing deep into me. I had my son when I was quite young. Throughout his life, we have been very close to each other. Because of his age gap between his younger siblings, he took on the role and helped raise them with us. When my husband passed, I looked to my son for support in our family as he was now the man of the house. I was by no means without a job, but I needed him for help around the house and more importantly, emotionally. Shortly after my husband passed and we were done grieving for the most part, I started asking my son to sleep in my bed with me. I needed someone to be beside me, hold me, and sleep with me. It didn't take long before there started to be a noticeable tension between us. When we would talk to each other about our day, we would sit very close to each other. One of those times, we leaned in and embraced each other. After a few very awkward moments, things became serious. In the months after, we normalized a lot of frisky stuff. We both needed emotional and physical support, and we were both there for each other. Yes, we caught each other playing off quite a bit during this period too, as we now completely shared a room. The tension between us was getting fierce at this point, so I decided to do something about it. I sat down with my son late at night when we usually talk and hang out, and I brought up the topic of the deed, but I didn't expect what he would say next. Press share and more for part 2.
My sister told me I was uninvited from our family reunion, so I took my barbecue and all the drinks with me. Every year for the past 15 years, I've hosted our family reunion in my backyard. I'm talking about feeding 60 people with my custom-built smoker that cost me $4 grand and takes 12 hours to properly smoke a brisket. My sister Ashley always acts like she's the family coordinator, but I'm the one who buys all the meat, all the drinks, and spends 3 days prepping everything. She just shows up with a bag of chips and acts like she planned the whole thing. This year started like always. I ordered 200 pounds of brisket, ribs, and pulled pork from the butcher shop downtown. Bought 15 cases of beer, sodas, and water bottles. I even rented those big white party tents because the weather forecast looked sketchy. 3 days before the reunion, I'm in my kitchen at midnight marinating everything in my special dry rub when Ashley calls me. "Listen, we need to talk about Sunday," she says. Her voice sounds weird, really serious. I figured she wanted to change the menu or complain about something, but then she drops this bomb. "Mom and I talked, and we think it's better if you don't come this year." I literally stopped stirring the marinade. "What do you mean don't come? It's at my house in my backyard." "Well, we're moving it to Mom's place," Aunt Linda said. "Your barbecue is too salty anyway, and Uncle Rick thinks you drink too much at these family things." I was completely speechless. Too salty? I've won 3 local barbecue competitions with my rubs and seasonings, and I drink maybe 2 beers during the entire 8-hour event. "Ashley, I already bought all the food. I've been preparing for 3 days straight. You can return the meat to the store. Mom's ordering catering from that new place downtown." That's when it hit me. They wanted the reunion without me, but they still expected me to pay for everything. Ashley had called the week before, asking if I'd already ordered the food. Acting all concerned about the family budget, I hung up on her, sat in my kitchen surrounded by 200 pounds of perfectly seasoned meat and 15 cases of drinks, feeling like a complete idiot. The next morning, I started making phone calls. My buddy Jordan from work had been begging me to cater his son's birthday party for months. My neighbor Kevin had mentioned wanting to try my famous brisket. My old college roommate Ryan was always talking about throwing a proper barbecue. By Friday afternoon, I had organized the greatest backyard party of my life. 20 of my actual friends coming over Sunday, people who genuinely wanted to be there and appreciated good food. Sunday morning, I fired up the smoker at 6 o'clock in the morning. The smell of hickory smoke filled the entire neighborhood like a barbecue advertisement. Around noon, cars started pulling into my driveway. People were laughing, kids were playing in the yard, and everyone kept complimenting the food. That's when Ashley's car came screeching up to my house. She jumped out looking completely panicked. "Where's all the food? Mom's been waiting for you to bring everything over to her place." I pointed to my backyard where my friends were already eating plates of perfect brisket and ribs. "It's right there. Help yourself to a plate. You can't do this. The family reunion is supposed to be at Mom's house." "Well, you uninvited me from the family reunion, so I decided to throw my own reunion with people who actually want me here." Ashley started crying, saying I was ruining everything. That Mom had 40 family members coming and no real food. That the catering place had canceled at the last minute. "Sounds like poor planning on your part," I said, taking another bite of my award-winning pulled pork. My Uncle Rick showed up at my door. Then, Cousin Brad walked over. Then, even my mom appeared with an embarrassed look on her face. Turns out Ashley's professional catering was just basic sandwiches from the grocery store deli, and half the family had left when they realized there was no real barbecue or proper food. My mom took a plate of brisket and sat down next to me on my deck. "Your barbecue was never too salty," she said quietly. Ashley just wanted to be in charge of something for once. The best part, my actual friends kept talking about how amazing everything tasted. Jordan's wife asked for my secret rub recipe. Kevin offered to help me cater his office party.
I genuinely think we should make it a new law that if a guy tells you he is single, you should be entitled to 5 minutes of unsupervised snoop time on his phone, and I'm going to tell you my why. So today, I'm sitting in a coffee shop, right, minding my business, doing my work, when all of a sudden I get a text from a number I don't have saved. So immediately I go and I check it, and I got a "Hey Girly" text, and I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck could I be getting a "Hey Girly" text when I'm not in a relationship, right? I'm not on Hinge. I'm not actively going on dates. How am I getting a hey girly text? Well, all of this leads back to 2 weekends ago when I was at Jackdaw, okay? And I'm making eye tag with this guy in the bar. Eventually we start talking, right? And the first thing that I ask this man, first thing after his name, his age, and where he went to school is, do you have a girlfriend? I look him dead in the face. I say, do you have a girlfriend? He tells me no. I then pivot, turn to his friend, and I say, is he telling the truth? The friend said yes, okay? That's not good enough for me. I double down. I say, is there anybody that thinks that they are your girlfriend? Both of them say no. Okay, so I give him my phone number. The conversation progresses, and he tells me that him and his roommate are going back to their apartment because there's like an apartment party happening. And he invites me and my friend to come. We're like, sorry, we already have plans. However, Liv is throwing a darty tomorrow. You guys should come, okay? So I get his number. Later on in the night, I text him the address, I text him the time, and I say, hope to see you. Okay, the following day, he texts me on my way. Okay, there's like an hour into the darty. I just get a text on my way. 15 minutes later, he shows up. He has 2 friends with him, okay? And I want you to understand that this man has graduated college and I am in college, and this is a darty of me and my college friends. And there are endless things to do in the city on a hot sunny Saturday, okay? But he chooses to come to this darty. He and I are talking. My friends are all talking to his friends. He stays for 2 full hours. Like, the party moved from the roof to the apartment and him and his friends came with, okay? He and I are talking, whatever. I'm thinking things are great. I ask my friends. I literally vet. I say, has he been texting anyone? They're like, no. I'm like, does he act a little sus? They're like, no, he seems totally fine, okay? So eventually he leaves. I'm still at the darty and I text him, thanks for coming. He's like, of course, I had so much fun. Let me know what you're doing later, okay? So that's where he left it off. A few hours later, I respond. I said, I'm going to a birthday party right now, but tell me what you're doing later, okay? That's the last I heard from him. I think to myself, well, I must have just misread the situation. I got ghosted. Life goes on, okay? That brings us to today, when I got the text from the random number. Turns out that was his girlfriend, okay? So while he's doing all of this with me, he has a girlfriend, okay? And she texts me, she'd like seen my TikTok and she had kind of put 2 and 2 together and she had confronted him. And she's basically just saying that like they were together when this was all happening. And I immediately am like, oh my fucking God, I am so sorry. Like, I promise you that I did not know he had a girlfriend. Otherwise I would have never done anything. Like, that is not me. I'm so sorry. If there's anything you need from me, any proof, anything, let me know. She's being incredibly nice about it. She's like, don't worry about it, girl. You're not the only one involved. Like, it's obviously on him, not you. There's no way you could have known. She's being so nice. I keep profusely apologizing. Eventually the conversation goes on. We're exchanging details. We follow each other on Instagram, okay? So I go obviously to stalk her Instagram because I'm a girl, right? What else am I to do? When I tell you my jaw hit the floor, this is the most sickeningly stunning person I've ever seen. I was like, how the fuck could we even be in the same league? Like, I'm not gonna put my looks down. I think I'm conventionally attractive. This girl was drop dead stunning and I immediately was like, how the fuck is he gonna fumble this girl, especially over me? Like, what the actual fuck? Come to find out that same night he came to the darty and then he asked me what I was doing later and it didn't end up working out. He went to another girl's house, not his girlfriend, another girl's house, and slept with her. He had like 4 different girlfriends going on all at the same time while in a relationship with this one girl and still pursuing other girls. And honestly, the bottom line is I do not know a single one of my female friends that would act like this in a relationship. I also don't know a single one of my friends that would support my friend in a relationship acting like this. Like, if my friend in a relationship tried to pretend she was single, I'd be like, abso-fucking-lutely not. We're not doing this, okay? Like, I ride for my girls, but not to that degree. I'd be like, hey, I'm not gonna turn you in, but you need to stop what you're doing and you need to reflect and you should probably not be in this relationship. How him and all of his friends completely ignored the fact that he had a girlfriend, showed up to this party, lied to my face, and then also he was lying to the other girl the entire time. Like, it actually makes no sense. And I really do believe that as a single female, like, I should get privileges to go through a man's phone before anything starts because it's just a colossal waste of time. I don't know if this is normal, but my boyfriend just confessed to me that he talks with his friends about being attracted to other girls whilst being in a relationship with me. He confessed to me that sometimes he tells them that he has thoughts about being with other women. He told me this as if this was the most natural thing ever. He's like, oh, these are thoughts that every man has. If you leave me and you go be with someone else, like, he's gonna think the exact same thing. He's just not gonna have the guts to say it to you. So he claims it's just simply part of his nature, or the man's nature, and he can't help it. So 2 nights ago, we went out with our friends, and some of my friends came up to me and told me that he was making some comments about being attracted to other women and actually wanting to be with other women at that party. And again, I confronted him and he told me the same thing. He's like, yeah, like, every man is like that. I'm not going to do anything, but I can't lie to you and tell you that I wouldn't want that. And saying if you want to leave me for someone else in hopes that he won't be like me, he will. I don't know if this is true or if this is just an excuse. Like, do men actually think this way? I've been with this person for 1.5 years and I'm not willing to let this go like this, but if this isn't a common thing, then I can't be with him. Story time, I found out my dad was cheating on my mom with a man, bro. A fucking man. So I did ask my mom for permission to post this video and talk about this because this is a very humbling experience as a girl, as a baddie, because she's a baddie. So for Becca's story, my dad had cheated on my mom like always, his whole fucking life with so many women. I have like step-siblings, yeah, you know, like who would have thought that he liked it from the back? Damn. My dad is almost 60 and my mom is barely 40. So when he was 20, she was 1. Yeah, it's a 20-year age gap. So man, as in my dad would barely be home. He would be out with like ladies and stuff and cheat on my mom with so many people. But my mom didn't give a fuck. I don't know why. Maybe she was cheating on him too, but who knows. But so this is one time, since he would never, like, he would only go to sleep there sometimes, and like he would be there but not often. But there was one time I stayed. I didn't go to school. I stayed, but my mom had to do some errands, so she left me alone. And around that time, I was like 6, 7. No, I'm playing. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I was like, yeah, I was around 6 or 7, and I stayed there. And I remember just being there. I don't know what I was doing. My mom was not gonna go for a long time. Then I hear my dad come in, and me, goofy me, I was like, let me hide, let me hide. It's always when you're hiding, that's when you find out the dirtiest and horrible, like the most terrific stuff. When you're hiding, playing hide and seek with your parents, bro. So I hide, and then I hear him come in, but it's him and another man, and I'm like, oh, it must be his friend, you know. And this is when it starts, girls. I was literally about to come out and like scare him. And mind you, I'm hiding in my closet of my room, and my room, it was like open. I don't know how to explain it, but it was open. You could see from the living room. So I'm hiding in the closet and I'm waiting for my dad. I see my man and I see the man. Like, I see this man. I thought they were about to start fighting, bro. I thought they were gonna start fighting because I see him push him like that, and I'm like, what the fuck? In my head, I'm like, I'm scared. In my head, I'm scared because I'm like, oh, my daddy's gonna fight, you know? And then no, they liked it aggressive. So mind you, this guy and my dad, he pushed my dad, and then they start gripping on each other. Yeah. But the man that he was with, I knew that man. He was like a family friend. So I was like, in my head, I didn't know that man could kiss. I didn't know, like, I was never aware of, like, they start going, bro. Like, bro, I don't know why I had to see that shit, bro. I was, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? So they were, like, kissing. They were taking, like, each other's clothes. But by the time I was so glad he didn't see that shit, bro. I was so glad he didn't see that shit, bro. By the time they were, like, about to take off the, you know, I got out that shit. I was like, no, bro. I just couldn't. So I got out the closet and I started crying in my room. I was like crying and yelling, and then that's when my dad figured out that I was in the room. He couldn't see me when I got out from the closet. I couldn't really see the living room. They couldn't see me. But I started crying in my bed as if I was having a fucking nightmare. I was faking it. I started screaming at my dad. I scared. He went to the room. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I told him I was having a bad dream. And then my mom left me. And when I asked him what was he doing here, he was like, oh, we were just getting off work. And then here's what they do. And then obviously I knew. So I told my mom. But obviously I knew what had happened. So I waited for my mom to get home and I told her. I was like, Dad was kissing with a man. Dad was doing stuff with a man. And then my mom was like, huh? But she was like used to him cheating on him with a woman, not a man. So she didn't believe me. So she basically like, well, I wasn't there when she did this shit, so I can't really like explain everything. But she just told me that like she basically set him up. That she told him that she was going to this day, and then she basically stayed, and then she actually watched them do their stuff, and then she called him. Then yeah, girls, things got bad. But yeah, that's basically the story, guys. Sometimes that's how you know when a man cheats on a woman, he just gotta be gay. Like he's not happy. If he's not happy with women, it's because he likes getting a hit from the back. But yeah, it's okay though. And I didn't even ask my dad permission to post it, so he might be mad when he sees it. Sorry, Dad. But it's okay to be gay. I support you, bro. But it was just insane. How are you gay and you got like so many kids? Like,
I will never forget when I was in 9th grade, right? I was messing with this dude. I snuck him in. We did the do, and I got caught. Yes, my grandma definitely walked in that house. Story time. So I was in 9th grade. This is a judge-free zone. Please don't get in my comments with all that. But I was in 9th grade, messing with this dude. This wasn't my first time doing it. This was maybe like 3rd, honestly. And my mom had just went to jail because it was just a lot going on, y'all. Like, she had just left. So at this point, I was like, let me just sneak you in because at this point, I don't really have much guidance. So I can really get away with anything now. I skipped school. It was the school day, right? So I skipped school, and my grandma would never get notified that I didn't go to school. I don't know why, but she didn't. So what did I tell? Actually, no. I thought that she didn't get notified, right? So I'm like, yeah, she don't get notified when I don't go to school. Y'all, she texted my phone, why you ain't go to school? Heart dropped. Okay? My heart sunk. Like, I was like, well, I ain't go to school. How you know I'm not at school? But in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tell her this. So I told her, oh, I didn't go to school because I didn't feel good. Like, when I got on the bus, I ended up throwing up. This sounds like such a bad lie now that I'm looking back at it, but I thought this was so good. I was like, yeah, I ended up throwing up, so I didn't go to school. I'm sorry. Yeah, it won't happen again, right? Okay, cool. So I'm talking to him. I'm like, dang, like, I don't know. Like, is she gonna come home? Like, I had this feeling like I should have him leave now, but at the same time, it was like I didn't want him to leave. So we're just talking this whole time. We're just like talking like, should you leave? Should you not? He like, F all that. Like, he like, okay, let's just do that to get your mind. Because I was clearly stressing. He was like, let's get your mind off there. Like, we're good. He was telling us, like, we good, right? All right, cool. So that's exactly what we did. We get to, doing that. I'm not going to go into detail. All I know is in the middle of it, I'm talking about maybe like 5 minutes in, y'all. Mind you, I don't have on no type of clip, like, bro, oh my gosh. I hear the garage open, because when the garage open, it's mad loud. So we both hear it. Yo, when I tell you we got to rushing, like, oh my granny, we get to rushing, G, like, I'm trying to put on my clothes, he's trying to put on his clothes, it's too much going on. Mind you, she getting in, she didn't even, usually when she pulls in, she backs in, right? She just straight pulled in. I'm like, oh. So I'm telling him, go, like, that's all you hear. Go. We running downstairs. I tell him, go down the back door. That back door slammed so loud, she heard that immediately. She busted through the door. I don't even remember what she said, but I went upstairs, because I didn't even have clothes on. I went upstairs. She shut that back door. She like, who are you? Who are you in my house? I'm looking like, I don't know him. Who is he? Oh my gosh, is somebody trying to break in? Bro, he was so mad. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. She's like, what's your name? He said something like John. So at this point, we're playing in this girl face. Like, at this point, he like makes it just sorry. Like, we need to be honest. I'm like, I'm not telling nothing. I stay quiet. He was just like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I really like your daughter. I'm sorry. Yeah, so he's just saying like, oh, I'm sorry, that won't happen again. She told him to call his mom. His mom came. They had a talk. That was my first time meeting his mom, and I would see him like all the time after that. He came over all the time after that, and we did it for a year, and life was somewhat good.
My wife of 2 years is cheating on me. All 6 updates today. I, male 27, found out my wife, female 25, is cheating on me. As with all cheaters, she messed up. She left her second phone home when she left for work. I'm numb because I heard her phone go off and I assumed she had just left it and we were supposed to meet up for lunch later, but when I picked up her phone I saw a number I didn't recognize and the text on there said it all. It read, I can't wait to see you tonight. Yeah, I know that maybe that's just a friend and this could just be a work phone, but my gut tells me otherwise. I've been thinking about it and she has been acting weird. She's been working long hours, she's been on 2 girls' trips this month, and she's been randomly called in to work on her days off. I don't know what to do. Her second phone has a lock on it, otherwise I'd open it and read the other texts. What should I do? Update 1. I just finished lunch with her. I confronted her about the phone and the look of horror on her face broke what little hope I had left that she wasn't cheating on me. I gave her her phone and told her to open it and show me the text thread, and the messages date back to December. I asked her how long she's been cheating and she confessed. She broke down and started apologizing as I read the messages, which were like daggers straight to my heart. I asked her again how long, and apparently it's been happening our whole marriage. When I told her I don't think I could forgive her, she got mad and drove home, packed a suitcase and left. I'm sitting here on our bed with a mixture of sorrow, pain, and a desire to just wake up from this nightmare. I don't know where I went wrong. Why couldn't I be a better husband to her? I feel so lost and hopeless. She was my everything. Thank you for the support. Update 2. So today I had the locks changed to the house. I called a divorce attorney to help me and I met with him in a day, so hopefully he will take my case. I went through some of her messages and her friends' messages to me. Apparently she twisted the story to make it look like I cheated on her and she's the victim. Unfortunately for her, I took a picture of the text that said I can't wait to see you and sent that to her family. I'd give that will do anything but yeah. I feel insanely guilty about every text I read from her. She called me about 40 times and left voicemails, which I immediately deleted. With all the support and help from you guys, I feel like I can make it through this. Oh, also I did set a DRS appointment to get tested for STDs. Thank you for all the support. I really appreciate it. Yesterday my world fell apart and you guys are helping me pick up the pieces. My family believes in me and supports me, and my friends support me too. I still have a lot of pain in me, but I feel like I can breathe a little better, and as some of you have mentioned, that it can only get better from here. I hope this is the case because this hurt is one I never want to feel again. I'll keep you updated as it comes. Update 3. Ever since a week or 2 ago, my life has been in a downhill spiral and the hurt hurts too much. My race has been run, and to quote Lord of the Rings, there are some things that time cannot mend. Some hurts that go too deep, that have taken hold. Bilbo once told me his part in this tale would end. That each of us must come and go in the telling. It's my time to talk about life. Update 4. Thank you all of you. Thank you. I was on the couch with my gun in my hand. I was crying and I'd quiet, but I fell asleep. I woke up to my phone going off. I'm in the ER right now waiting to go to the mental health ward. You guys helped me with your love. Thank you is all I can say. I love you guys. Update 5. I'm in the mental health unit now and they allow me to have my phone for 20 minutes, so I wanted to give you an update. I've called my brother and he's going to my house to take and lock up my guns until I get through this. I'm going to be here for a week or 2 until the DRS feel like I'm not a danger to myself. Again, thank you for all your love and support, and know that you saved a life with all your loving comments. Final update. I almost made the worst decision 2 weeks ago. I almost committed unaliving over my ex-wife. I'm happy to report that I'm back from the hospital with more hope and peace than I've felt in a long time. I got out last week, and since then I finalized my divorce. My friend has moved in with me to help get me through this rough patch. Also, it turns out that my ex was cheating on me with a married coworker, and when she ran to him after she left, he chose his wife over her. I don't know them, otherwise I'd let his wife know about his infidelity. My ex is now living in a motel because her friends and family, after I sent them proof, have all but abandoned her. Life is looking up, and without your kind words and support, I wouldn't be here. Thank you for saving my life. Now it's time for me to love it again.
When I was a teenager, my dad took me to school every single morning. And one morning after he had dropped me off, my best friend was waiting for me and she was like, "Hey, do you want to skip school today? My aunt's coming to pick me up." And me being the rebel that I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so we hid in the stairwell at the school until the bell rang. And then as soon as the bell rang, we went outside and hid behind the dumpsters until her aunt came to pick us up. When she picked us up, we had drove around for a little while, stopped at a tattoo shop, and then we ended up going to her house. And her house was super weird because as soon as you walked in, there were deadbolts like up and down the entire door. And I specifically remember that she had an entire bedroom full of chickens. How this makes sense, I don't know, but that's just one thing that I'll never forget. She also had a lot of people at her house, which I didn't think much of. I figured they were probably just having like a day party or something. And me and my friend were wearing school uniforms, so she had gave us clothes to change out of so we were more comfortable. She ended up giving us each a Smirnoff, and that one Smirnoff is literally all it took. I was in and out of consciousness before I even finished the Smirnoff. I would literally fall asleep and wake up in like different places of the house, in different positions with different people. First time that I had woke up, my friend was sleeping next to me and I was like, "Hey, we need to wake up. Like something is off right now." I remember one time when I had woke up, me and my friend were bent over a couch in like very inappropriate ways for teenagers. And there were flashes of light constantly, which I knew somebody was taking pictures of us. I had a cell phone at the time, but it was inside my backpack. And when all of this was happening, I had no idea where my backpack was. Waking up again in a bathroom with a man behind me. He was pulling my hair so hard it hurt so bad. Then I woke up again holding a roll of toilet paper, cleaning up a massive amount of blood on the floor. I was completely undressed and I remember running around the house trying to find my backpack so I could find my phone so I could call for help. It was like around 1 o'clock when I finally found my phone and it was only at like 10% battery, but I was able to call my boyfriend and his dad was a sheriff for the county and I was able to tell him that there was something seriously wrong in this house and I didn't know what was going on, but I needed to get out. I ended up hiding my phone and going back into the bathroom and putting on a random t-shirt that I found on the ground, and I was able to open up and crawl out the window. As soon as I got out of the house, I ran down the street and I was looking for anybody at all. And I could see far in the distance there was lights in a field, so I ran straight to that vehicle. And thank God it ended up being a sheriff. And as soon as I got closer, a lady came out of the car and I started crying and running faster towards her. And she was like, "Are you Tiffany?" And I just cried in her arms. And she was like, "There's an alert out looking for you." She took me down to the station and I told them every single thing that I knew about that house. Shortly after I got to the sheriff's department, I got a text message from that aunt saying, "Where did you go? Why did you leave? You need to be back here right now." And the sheriff's department came up with a lie to give her and then told her that I would meet her the next morning. So that next morning at like 7 a.m., we had a meeting spot to where I would go meet her. She would pick me up and take me back to the house. Except at 7 a.m. that morning when she went to go pick me up, the entire gas station was surrounded by police and she ended up getting arrested. She and her husband were ahead of a very large... She and her husband were both arrested. They spent about 12 to 13 years in prison. When the husband got out, he has a family now, he's married, has kids. When the lady got out of prison, she went back to prison again and again and again and again for the exact same things. But at least for 13 years, I guaranteed saved a lot of women. For that, I will always be super proud of myself.
I finally told my boyfriend what my body count was, and now we're not together. I understand some people don't like their partner's body count sometimes and that it can be a deal breaker, but my boyfriend and I have been together for 6 months and he finally for the first time asked me what my body count was. I told him I'm not going to be super specific, but let's just say it's more than 10 but less than 20. And he got very upset at me. He started saying things like, "You're a woman, you should hold yourself to higher standards." He said women that are promiscuous should be treated as thoughts. And I obviously got offended by that because he was clearly referring to me. Anyways, we made up, but for the past week, he's just been showing so many signs that he doesn't trust me and that he's clearly not over the conversation. Like now he always wants to see my location, which he didn't used to before. I tried to talk to him about it, being like, "You can talk to me, like what's going on?" And he's just still so resentful about my body count. He says that he can't stop thinking about it, like he can't stop thinking about me with other guys, and says that he can't believe that many guys used me. He was getting pretty heated with the conversation and it came to a point where he literally called me a slut to my face. I didn't say anything, he just saw my face and he quickly backtracked saying, "No, you're not a slut now, you were in your past and I'm willing to get over it because I love you." Yeah, no, you're not gonna call me a slut and be in a relationship with me. That's not gonna happen. Firstly, I don't even think my body count is that high. Secondly, I would never ever cheat on him or anybody else. So I just feel like he's being super unfair and he's showing a side that I didn't know. He's been blowing up my phone saying that he's sorry and whatnot, but I don't know if I should forgive him.